The main findings were that the head had been chopped off on the neck at the level of C5 vertebra. This is the vertebra on the neck. There were bruising on the scalp, which to me looked like caused by a blunt object. And then upon looking at the neck structures, we also saw some fractures of bones, which are usually very important in homicide. One of the bones is called hyoid bone, which was fractured. Then there's what is called thyroid cartilage also, which had some fracture and hemorrhage. So from all this, I can comfortably conclude that what caused the death of that young lady was strangulation, after which she was decapitated and the body dumped. What actually we've done today, because the head is
in a killing that shocked the country, the dismembered remains of Rita Waeni, 20 years, were discovered in rubbish bags at a short-term apartment in Roysambu area of Nairobi County. Her head was missing and her body had been badly dismembered. This was the most gruesome murder to ever be witnessed in the Kenyan history. There was an attempt to also clip off her nails and an attempt to cut off her hair. In January 2024, a man who Rita had only met through social media, Instagram to be precise, had not provided a mobile number, therefore making it more suspicious. Rita was a 20-year-old who the family described as a very brilliant girl who had excelled academically ever since she was in primary school. She always came top of her class, and she in fact joined the JKUAT University at the tender age of 17 years. She was in the 4th year. So, how did Rita Waeni meet her killer? In January 2023, Rita Waeni's friend had asked her to meet her in Nairobi West area near Magharibi Place. A few minutes later, a man named Carlton Minor met Rita Waeni alongside Rita Waeni's friend, a student at the Strathmore University. The conversation was very brief. They did not even exchange their phone numbers. The suspect later asked for her Instagram account handle, unaware that was her death trap. Rita Waeni gladly gave her Instagram handle, which they used to communicate. Rita Waeni and Carlton Minor had 2 meetups at the Roysambu short stay apartment where Rita allegedly met her untimely death. The third time, their meetup did not work. Rita Waeni was supposed to meet Carlton Minor, but he did not appear, and therefore the meetup did not happen. The failed meetup ended up with Rita Waeni's phone being stolen a few minutes later by a motorbike rider. During their initial interactions, he claimed that his family resided in Karen while he himself owned a house in Rwaka. Their conversations during this period appeared innocent, and they were carefully crafted by the mastermind behind the heinous plot. He maintained an air of innocence, ensuring no trace of his true intentions was left behind. The suspect remained elusive, withdrawing personal information and refraining from sharing his photos with Rita. His Instagram account also did not have any photos or any posts. Perhaps Rita Waeni's phone was stolen in order to conceal some information, therefore making it easy for her murder to be orchestrated in a way that the suspect would not be traced or Rita would not suspect any foul play. It is also noteworthy that Rita had also broken up with her ex-boyfriend, who her parents were aware of. According to an interview conducted by TV47, Rita's mother was aware that Rita and her boyfriend had broken up after reconcilable differences, and he was still pursuing her and even sending her threats to her after the messy breakup. The boyfriend was still pursuing her and wanted to get back with her, but Rita was careful to move on with her life. The ex-boyfriend would also forcefully visit Rita's hostels even after Rita rejected his advances. This made her life uneasy, prompting her to spend more time at her aunt's place in Syokimau instead of being at the hostels. The ex-boyfriend was clearly obsessed with Rita Waeni. It remains unclear whether the investigators had questioned the ex-boyfriend, whose conduct now puts him as a person of interest in the murder that sent shockwaves in the nation. On the other hand, Rita was busy building a friendship with her killer. Mesmerized by the encounter, the two took their conversation online, and from there was a friendship. For Rita, it was the thrill of getting to know someone new, and for the killer, the bait had been swallowed and he was only buying time before making a prowl. It was until after the burial that the friend came out to confess to the parents of how the two had met and that she was being haunted by nightmares. Certainly, there were a lot of red flags that their daughter appeared to ignore regarding the suspected murderer. Rita Waeni's mother recalled the last conversation they had on the last day she was seen alive. This was hours before her meetup with the suspect. The suspect was keen to coerce Rita to meet him, citing reasons like he was supposed to leave the country and therefore there was need to meet on that day without fail. Rita asked for permission from her aunt in Syokimau and promised that she would be safe. Her aunt later notified her mother about the same. Earlier on, Rita was hesitant to meet him. She stated that she had injured her leg and it was raining. The suspect ignored the messages and made sure that she was convincing her to meet him, which Rita agreed to and asked for a sleepover as she was not feeling quite well. They continued to converse until Rita arrived at the location where she would meet her killer to be. CCTV footage from their Syokimau home showed Waeni leaving at around 3:30, donning a white trouser, black boots, blue jacket, and a small black bag. On that fateful day, Rita and her mother had a heart-to-heart conversation where they talked about Carlton. She was very precise to tell her that eventually she would come to know about the person, that is Carlton Minor. There was nothing much happening between them, so there was need for her to introduce the person to her later. Rita Waeni's mother, however, disclosed that there were red flags in their emerging telephone conversations that her daughter seemingly ignored. At one point, Rita Waeni told Carlton that the matatu was a bit slow, and Carlton's response was that Rita was playing with her. Rita also told him that it was raining and she felt like they should not meet that fateful day, but the man insisted that it would stop raining and therefore they were supposed to meet on the very day. CCTV footage along TRM Drive captured Waeni and her suspected killer walking together, perhaps to the short-stay apartment booked by the man donning a white cap and sunglasses and a black outfit as shown in the video.
Allowed to use the house. As per the CCTV footage, the suspect is seen carrying a bag. Investigators believe he was carrying a hacksaw in the bag. This is believed to have been the weapon he used to dismember the victim's body.
He was somebody who was keen to hide his identity. And why would this happen? And this was even further seen in the manner in which the scene of crime was handled.
That was somebody who knew what he was doing. He was on a mission, and he accomplished his mission.
One mistake that happened was how the suspect was allowed to rent the house for a night out without the owner taking crucial identification documents from.
Rita's mother noted that based on their conversations, the suspect did not express any intimacy interest with her, but it appears that Rita had already trusted him. After committing the heinous act, the killer changed the username on Instagram. Perhaps to conceal his tracks, he switched from Carlton Minor to use Randa before eventually deactivating the account as investigators fastened the trail. Forensic analysis conducted by government pathologist Dr. Johansen Odor revealed that the lady was murdered through strangulation just before midnight, before her body was dismembered. This is as in the video shown below.
The main findings were that the head had been chopped off on the neck at the level of C5 vertebra. This is the vertebra on the neck. There were bruising on the scalp.
Dr. Odor expressed a shock over the extreme cruelty inflicted on the body of Rita Waeni following a post-mortem examination. Odor, in an address on Friday, January 19, described the chilling status of the body of the murdered 20-year-old as the most shocking analysis he has ever done in his forensic life.
Comfortably conclude that what caused the death of that young lady was strangulation, after which she was decapitated and the body dumped. What actually we've done today, because the head is decomposed, and being decomposed, we have to be very sure and use scientific ways.
The pathologist revealed that the body had been dismembered, with the head and legs being apart from the body. The body had been dismembered from the neck and the head was missing. The pathologist implied that the perpetrator may have calculated his plans very well before committing the heinous acts. He used a sharp object to cut the skin, and the bone was sawed off with what looked like a hacksaw. In what looks like a well-planned murder and escape plan, some of the initial suspects have been released, including 2 foreigners, but the police are yet to make the arrest of the main suspects. Last month, the police, in appeal for information to the public, they released CCTV videos and photos of the suspects. Police said the investigations were at advanced levels. Elaborate forensic analyses have also been done by the investigating team, capturing the deceased's last moments and linking probable suspects to her murder. Further detailed statements by persons of interest have been recorded and more data sourced from digital platforms to ensure that all leads to Rita's killers are utilized, reads a DCI report. However, nothing much has been reported and the killer is still at large. Rita was laid to rest in a low-key ceremony in Boni East on Valentine's Day.